Another day, another dollar. Welcome back to another technical analysis video on the Nasdaq 100 weekly highs, weekly lows. Guys, I hope you've had a really good week with your trade weeks just gone, right? And what I'm here to do is just to discuss with you my point of view as to where I think market is going to be going week commencing Monday the 7th of October. So make sure you watch this video all the way up to the end, and also hit the subscribe button, turn on the notification, and drop us a like if you find the content I'm sharing with you useful. So with all of that covered, we're going to get straight into the business of the technicals for the week. Let's get into it. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do now is I'm just going to remove the vertical line and just move that over to this week. Right, and just lock that in place. And if you're new to this channel, basically what we do is we use the weekly highs and weekly lows to help us determine the direction of market, and then obviously we follow it in kind, right? That's what we normally do on this channel. So how it's going to go, in case you're watching this for the first time, is we're using the analysis in this area, right, which is week just gone, Monday the 30th of September, in preparation for week coming, which will be from Monday the 7th of October. So generally that is the plan, that is what we're doing on this channel. Okay, so with that covered, we're going to get straight into the nitty-gritty of the day. And one of the key things that I always like to say, especially when I'm talking about weekly highs and weekly lows, is that due diligence must be done before you do certain things, just to make sure that you don't find yourself holding the bag. And it's very, very, very easy to do that. Okay, so guys that have been following along on this channel for a fair period of time would have noticed certain traps that markets will put out in front of us, and obviously a good many people will fall for it. If you've been following along for any period of time, you will see these traps when they come in play, and naturally you would protect yourself in kind. Now, there was a trap last week, and I don't know if you guys can see it, but bottom line is I'll be showing that out to you. Okay, so first off, let's recap the moves of last week that was supposed to help us for this week, right? And the moves were this: if weekly low or weekly high is taken out, we're looking for moves in the corresponding direction. That was the idea. So if I grab this weekly low and I drag it across, we can clearly see that market came below the weekly lows. Okay, right? And at which point you could have joined the market here, right? Or you could have joined the market up here, right? Either way, right? But bottom line is, on the Friday, you'll be sitting there holding the bag, because Friday was NFP, right? So what do I mean by a trap? Well, the trap with this weekly low being taken out, which still is, this is still a downtrend, by the way, right? It's this right here. This is the trap that was laid out for us, and we had to be careful of, which is this bearish FVG in this area right here. So the bearish FVG, what does it mean? Well, first off, we're getting lower lows and we're getting lower highs. It's just started. So this is just a new trend that's just started now. Lower lows, lower highs, right? This whole thing, you could say, is the head and shoulders, which basically supports this FVG in this corner over here, right? Meaning that there is a high probability the price could be breaking downwards. So that's something that we've got to be mindful of, right? So if you are taking this trade, taking a sell down here, and now you find the market up here, and you want to know what went wrong, right? Basically, nothing has gone wrong. All that needs to happen now is you're going to need to expand your stop. Now, if you're uncomfortable with that, then either you can hold it, right? But in my opinion, okay, this FVG and this high point right here are areas of serious importance. So say, for example, you sold down here, right? You sold somewhere down here. When you saw, as soon as it closed, you just joined in straight away, and now market is up here, right? You've gone in there with a bit of size and you're not sure what to do, right? and you want to close out, but if you close out, the loss will be big, right? And if you hold it, you don't know what to do. So basically, you don't know what to do. You've been held captive, right? The only idea that I can look at, and bearing in mind, I'm not a financial advisor, I'm not giving you financial advice, I'm only putting forward what I would do in this situation, okay? But however, only you know your circumstances. So if you are trapped right now in this current market, right, the logical thing to do is to cover these highs over here, right? Is to cover these highs over here, right? It goes past this high level right here. Basically, it was turning around anyways, right? Even if it goes past it and it doesn't go past this one and it swings back down again, this would be the smartest place to pull it, right? Because I think if it goes past this level, it's only going to go higher. And this level, in fact, actually is a weekly high set week just gone. So that there is a weekly high, right? So my recommendation to you would be this. You're trapped and you need to make a decision as to what you're going to do and how you're going to do it. But that trap was laid out in this area right here to tell us we needed to be careful. Hence why whenever you're trading the market, you always want to keep an eye as to what has just taken place before you make decisions as to what you're going to do moving forward, right? So if you are trapped, it is what it is. This is the game that we play. This is what happens. It happens to us all, okay? It happens to us all. So you're just going to have to get used to that. You're just going to have to just sit on that one, right? And moving forward, once again, this is what we're looking at for. We're looking at for weekly lows and weekly highs to be taken out. So at the bottom right here, we have the weekly low. And I'm just going to put a label on that. Actually, we're just going to use this one. Okay. So the high in question is 2020140.2, right? This number right here corresponds to this location right here, right? And then for the low point, which is over here, so that's 19621.1, right? We're looking for that level to be taken out. So if this level gets taken out, we're looking for sales to the downside, and if the high side is taken out 20140.2, we are looking for buys in the opposite direction. And this is all for next week commencing the 7th of October, right? Now, looking at where market is right now, okay, let's just try to make let's just try to make sense of what is happening right now in the sense of where is the likelihood the market is going to either come down or go up, right? So my vibe would be this. Actually, this is what I'll be going off of, right? If market closes downwards, there's a high probability it's going to come all the way down to say to around this level over here, which is 18363.4 if market breaks down, right? And obviously if market closes above this level up here, then actually we're expecting it to go a little bit higher. It's one or two scenarios that could take place right now. But however, if it does take out this low and come down a little bit lower, then in my opinion, it is fair to assume that it's going to knock this one out and we're going to be getting a market correction on the Nas, right? Bearing in mind, I don't know if it's this month or November. I think it's November. Actually, I'm pretty sure it's November. So November is going to be the US elections, okay? So that may have a role in terms of where everything kind of ends up in regards to the Nasdaq 100. So if the US market want to encourage more investors, more foreign investors to come in, then it's fair to assume that we could have the Nasdaq dropping all the way down, so it's nice and cheap for new foreign investors to get involved. If market continues to push up, then naturally it's business as usual. So in my opinion, I'm kind of expecting some kind of correction, okay? And just like I said, on the high side, we can see a potential head and shoulders in this location, right? And then on the low side, let's just see if you can see anything that kind of corresponds to that. So, yeah, it's this area is looking hella interesting in terms of what could happen. So let me just have a look, see if there's anything else I could add in here to strengthen this. So I'm just doing a quick look to see if I can find any opportunities in here that could really take this situation to the next level. And from what I can see right now, based on how everything looks, I personally do not think the weekly high next week is going to be taken out. I think the weekly low would be taken out, right? Let me just have a quick look. You know what? It's hard to tell. It's hard to tell what direction market is going to go in. It's really hard to tell what direction market is going to go in. But however, on the flip side, moving forward, right, I'm going to be doing way more videos in a week than I have been. So you're not going to be getting one video on a Sunday. There's a high probability you're going to be getting a video tomorrow on gold, and then you're going to be getting a video on Tuesday on Nasdaq100, and then you're going to be getting another video on Wednesday on gold, and it's going to be like that up until the weekend. And I think maybe on the Sunday I might just do a recap on both those assets, gold and NAS, right? So early days, let's see if I do it, right? Because in the evening sometimes I have the time to do it, sometimes I don't. So we'll just see how it goes, but hopefully this will be the trend moving forward. So because I am unsure of where everything is right now, right? So I know this is a FEG, right? I also know that we're getting new weekly highs that's lower than the previous, and we're now starting to get weekly lows that are lower than the previous. So everything to me right now is pointing towards a downtrend of the market. I'm expecting this to be taken out, supposing to that being taken out, and I think the decision is going to be made up here, right? Now, I'm not telling you to jump in the market as soon as you get price close below the FEG, right? But however, I mean, if you were to do that, it would make sense, but I'm not telling you to do that because, like I said, I'm not a financial advisor and I'm not giving you financial advice. And finally as well, just to add, this number over here is a very, very, very important number in regards to where market is right now, because this is a rounding number, 20020.0. So this is a rounded number. Where market is right now, it's a super important number, round number. So you might want to look at that to see if you want to make a decision based on what you're seeing. Me personally, if I was looking for sales, I'd be taking sales from over here. I would not wait for the weekly low to be taken out. I'd be taking sales from this location right here, right underneath the FEG. Right underneath the FEG, so this would be my sell. I will cover this point up here, right? Because this is the highest, well, this is one of the highest points of last week, but the sensible location for my stop really is to be above the weekly high, in all fairness, right? So that's how I would do it. I would take my sales from over here and I will lock in this side, because I don't know if it's going to blast all the way through. It could do. It could absolutely do that, right? Or it could just fly down. So that'll be the smartest way I can do it, and I'll do everything with a pending order, right? And say, for example, if price comes above this level over here, then I would make a mental decision to either jump out the market or wait to see if it hits my stop, right? But these are risks that I'll be willing to take because I would have factored in my actual lot size and make sure that everything makes sense to me before I literally got into the market. Okay, so let's just have a quick look as to see what's going on for next week. Week commencing the 7th. Okay, so we don't have anything coming in on the Monday, and we don't have anything coming in on the Tuesday. On the Wednesday at 7 p.m. GMT, we got the FOMC meeting. That could be a dicey day. And then on the Thursday, we have CPI, right? So we have CPI coming in, and then we have CPI on the Friday also, right? So our biggest days is going to be Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, right? So on these 2 days, right? So the FOMC, that's going to do what it's going to do, right? It does, in my opinion, it doesn't really set anything. It just causes chaos, in my opinion, right? But however, CPI and core CPI and PPI, I believe, is going to set the trend as to where we are in the market. So it will give us an idea. So let me just go back to the market. So I believe CPI and PPI, so Thursday and Friday, will give us an idea as to where we are in the market. So what I will be looking out for on those days leading up to it is to find where one of these levels gets set. Okay, so I'll be looking for either a weekly high to be set, and bearing in mind the weekly high could be set from Monday, which means we have a continuation of a push to the downside, right? And the opposite can happen as well, which basically means we could have a low or a high set on, let's just say on a Wednesday, FOMC, right? So its market comes down on a Monday, right? This is all hypothetical, right? All assumption, right? Monday comes down on a Monday. It doesn't really take out a major low like the weekly low. It just comes down a bit. Then it pushes up again on the Tuesday, right? Then it comes back down again on the Wednesday, right? So then we get the FOMC meeting, right? And then it pushes up again, right? And then on the Thursday we get the CPI report comes out, right? So between those 3 days, we need to see what is the highest point and what is the lowest point, right? It's very easy to make a mistake on this one, but this is really good practice, and it actually is good muscle building for anticipating the market, because when you know when one of these levels is actually in place in real time, either the high or the low, it makes it easier for you to make decisions based on what you think is going to take place next, right? So we already know. If you went back to it, that on the Thursday we have data coming out. On the Friday we have data coming out, and then we have a day of confusion on the Wednesday at 7 p.m. right? To try to identify when either a low or a high is locked in, right? And I'm expecting the low or the high for this week here to be set within the first 3 days. So from Monday to Wednesday is when I'm expecting one of these levels to be locked in, right? Okay, at least for the first 3 days anyways, right? And then on the Thursday and Friday, I would then be expecting market to move in a direction that it wants to move in, right? And what I've just said here is incredibly difficult to pinpoint down. Believe you me, I know, right? But however, being aware of it is one step towards the journey of being able to master it. So if you're unaware of it, this is where like you're basically like a casino. But if you are aware of it, it makes life that much easier. It really does, right? And whilst all of that is happening, we'll be looking out for situations like FVGs being created, and what kind of FVGs are being created, right? Are we getting bullish FVGs being created, or are we getting bearish FVGs being created? And then once we combine all of that together, as long with trend lines and everything else that we know, that should give us a really good idea as to what market plans to do, right? So, and moving on to the next stage, make sure you hit the video link in this direction over here, which will be for backtesting, and the video in this direction over here, which will be for the previous video. So with all of that covered, my awesome people, wish you nothing but the best with your trades for next week, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.